going to introduce a couple of things today that I hope will be helpful to you in pursuing that. First one is I want to go through the new rules for the You Can Make It. Number one, this is an interactive learning experience. I'm going to talk a lot more about that in just a little bit. But what that means is that your questions are important to us. Good morning, Sylvie. Your questions are important to us. And I'm going to show you how important in just a minute. We want you to strive for mastery because it's mastery that causes you to make it. It's mastery that makes it possible for you to be able to do things that are going to be meaningful for your world. Good morning, Stephen. I do my best to try to teach you why as well as how, because I believe that the why is the problem-solving skill that you need. Once you have that problem-solving skill, then the how becomes pretty simple. You'll find a how once you understand the why. If you understand why things work the way they do, if you understand why you want to accomplish this, or if you understand why this needs to be done first before this is done, all of those things become pretty simple after that. The how becomes pretty easy. Good morning, Ken. Good morning, Stephen. And then we want you to support and encourage each other. I'm watching that happen each Friday on the webinars, and I really appreciate that. By the way, while I'm on that topic, I think I realized this morning that I did not post last week's webinar. It was downloading slow last week, and I think I just forgot after I got into the weekend. I had some busy family things going on over the weekend. And so I may have just forgotten to do that. I'll check the group, make sure I haven't posted it. If I haven't, I will make sure to get that up so everybody can see that. Okay, I know somebody already knows whether I've done that or not. I just thought about that as I was getting prepped this morning. Good morning, Ken. All right, and then the last one is we want to have fun. Okay, we just really want to have fun. Now, I'm going to introduce something next that I think is going to be helpful to us. And I'm going to focus on this for the month of April. And that is this. I started with a group that I have, another group that I have. I switched from doing webinars to what I refer to as the open Zoom room concept. Now, it's impossible to do that with the number of people that we have on the Friday webinar, but that concept is very good. The concept allows you to be able, you the participant, to be able to provide feedback and give direction for the way that that particular event goes. And I do one of those every week, and I kind of modeled it after this interactive learning experience. And I did it with the Zoom room because sometimes I need to be able to see their project and their screen. So I built that on the Zoom platform rather than on a typical webinar platform. But I can do exactly the same thing with the webinar platform. And we're going to move in that direction for the month of April and see if that doesn't help us to accomplish that You Can Make It goal. I'm going to put together a little brief survey. I'll post it every week earlier in the week so that you have a chance to click on that, say, hey, this is what I'd really like to talk about. Is there any way that you can address this question, or can you demonstrate how to do this, or I have this question. Now, keep in mind, I don't do support. Okay, so it won't do any good to ask those questions. I don't know anything about timelines. I don't know anything about delivery dates or expectations or any of those kinds of things. If it has to do with how do we make it, I can help you with that. So this is kind of a free form Q&A. It doesn't have to follow a particular pattern. It's modeled after the ever popular concept of Ask Me Anything. It's kind of an Ask Me Anything sort of a thing. But I do what I've called for a long time the public problem solving. And I prefer to not know a lot of stuff in advance. Instead, just simply figure out what we need to do as we do it. And so I call that public problem solving. I've discovered this is a great learning experience for people. When I've gone back and looked at the previous webinars, I've noticed there's kind of a pattern that the people, when there's been a question and we've tackled it and we've addressed it publicly and we didn't really know where we were starting, but we really knew where we were at when we got done, that people have enjoyed those webinars about the most. So we're going to try to take this model right here for the month of April and see if we can make this work with this Friday webinar for a few weeks in a row. Okay. So it will be the Friday webinar. This is what we're going to do on Fridays. I will post the survey that gets the questions in. We're going to address those, and we'll kind of turn this Friday thing into a more engaging kind of a platform. Okay. I will be addressing, as I've done many times in the webinar, somebody's specific issue, and we'll do it in that manner. Okay. So I think it's going to be kind of fun. We're going to test it just a little bit today. So I want you to be thinking, is there a situation? Is there an issue? Is there something that you're thinking about that might help us to have kind of a fun sort of a day on the webinar? And I've got stuff planned, so we're not going to just get to the after 20 minutes and just have it drop a ball. But Jerry Lynn's been on the open Zoom room concept that I have in the other platform. As has Melody and a few other people. Sandy, some others have been on that webinar as well. Carol may have been on one before, but this is kind of an interesting concept of being able to take that public problem solving modeled after the Ask Me Anything. And I've been doing that as far as I know. I'm probably the only person who does it. And I think it's just a really cool concept. So we're gonna pursue that for the month of April in this Friday time slot. I will put the survey together over the weekend, and I'll get that out to you next week so that you can drop in the ideas that you have. Okay, does that sound good to everybody? No, it'll still be down on the Demio link. You won't have to do anything new. I didn't want to have anybody sign up anywhere else or do anything different. Melody's actually been in the open Zoom room. She says she's looking forward to it. So, Melody, if you have anything you want to share about that, that'd be kind of cool. But I like the format. I like the ability to do that. We can't do a Zoom where everybody is in the room. That won't work. But not with this webinar. We'll do it on the webinar platform, and we'll allow some different kind of interaction there. Okay. All right, good. Looks like everybody's kind of favorable to that. So we will definitely be doing that in the month of April. All right. The next thing is, and this kind of this, I created this morning just to kind of demonstrate that it's seriously kind of an Ask Me Anything. It really is. And, I've discovered an interesting thing. And that is when people demo software, oftentimes they're using screenshots. They're not using the actual software. And webinars tend to go really according to a schedule and according to a script, and then you never really know how easy it is to master something or what steps you have to take in order to do that. So I've started doing that about a year and a half ago with UZiners, and I like it. I like the model. I like the pattern. Yes, Susanna, I love the frog. I kind of have been on this frog roll lately, and I think frogs are kind of cool. All right. I don't want you to forget, we started talking last week about the print opportunities. For some reason, I always think the springtime is a good time. I see several businesses being launched focusing on T-shirts right now and other outdoor apparel. And so the outdoor always brings out that print opportunity, but there's lots of other things. There's flyers and postcards, and you have outdoor events, and you have things that people need to have made that can help you to build a business project. And this was, I actually found this in this was actually a template inside of UZine, and it has a list of all the different kinds of print things that you can do, as well as it's thrown in a couple of other things like ebooks, infographics, and social media ads. But those are all things that you can do, and keep that in front of you. I'd highly recommend you find that, print that off, take a look at that, and keep that in front of you. If you're looking at this as a commercial venture, there's going to be opportunities for you right there that you may not have thought of before. We did the video promotions the other day where we took where I showed you some simple little tricks that we learned from watching a video, and we saw how cool that was. So very, very good. Okay. Yeah, I really wish it was possible to do that, Harold. Not with the software that we have. I was amazed. I did some promotional items with that, ran them out, and he's talking about the pop-up banner for trade shows, and those are amazing. I had a company right here in town that made them for me, and the cost of that was ridiculously inexpensive. Had to have good quality artwork that went on it, but it was ridiculously inexpensive. All right, the very next thing is, do you remember when we could do this? I did a little promotion about this, talked about how cool it was to be able to take the emoticons and have people vote and that kind of a thing. And then along comes Facebook and they said, that's fake engagement. We don't want you to do that anymore. And so they never banned people's accounts for it, but they did limit their scope because of it. And so, yes, these were very, very popular, but they've been replaced with something because Facebook considered that to be fake engagement and that you were doing this for the purpose of. And the problem that we had with this was that I could take this and get the appropriate response. Okay, I could get the appropriate response simply by the emoticon that I used. Right? They were very, very popular, but Facebook, because I'm be honest with you, Facebook likes the data too. So they were trying to figure out, is this going to be useful or useless? And when you obviously have this right here, this is going to be what? It's going to be the one that people are going to click on the most, okay? So it ended up with fake data, it ended up with fake engagement. And so the result was that Facebook said, you can't do that anymore, or we're going to limit the scope of your post, all right? So what have they been replaced with? Does anybody know what they've been replaced with? It's not necessarily been replaced on Facebook, but Mark has nailed it. They've been replaced with surveys. They've absolutely been replaced with surveys. And I have a reason for going in this direction. You're going to find this kind of interesting, so stick with me. They have been replaced with surveys. Surveys that look like this. Okay? Surveys where you click on something and up pops a poll or a survey or a calculator or something like that. Okay? Because this engagement is real. The data that is collected here is real. And this has value to everybody involved. All right, let me show you a couple of examples of this. Then we're going to jump off of here and we're going to talk about where the opportunity lies for you with Usign and GIFsign, all right, and even MogSign. We'll talk about where the opportunity lies right here. Okay. My favorite of all time Geico commercial was Happier Than the Little Pig Cry Wee 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 All the Way Home, and I love this one, and so I've actually created a survey that uses the little pig, and this is the new replacement for this. Now, this was great because we got engagement for a while. Things went really, really well. And then Facebook banned it. So now we have the replacement of that. And the replacement of that actually allows us to be able to collect data that can be aggregated as well as individual action that people can take. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? And then I can jump over to the Canvas and we can talk about it. All right. Because there's a great opportunity here. Give me a moment to stop sharing my screen, and I will be right back. This time, we'll take a look at how we can do that. All right, you only seeing one screen right now with my favorite little pig on there. All right, good. Okay, let me get ready here. Yeah, it is a GIF. They can be anywhere. Sylvie, they can be anywhere. I use surveys interactively in my blog post. And that's something also that's a service that my business provides to be able to do that. But I want you to see where your opportunity is with this. So let's take a look at this one, the first one here, and that is which sports watch best suits your needs. Okay. We've been talking about stores and being able to sell things in print and that kind of a thing. I did not go to the trouble to build this on a platform asking the question about t-shirts, but we could have done exactly the same thing. Or which promotional item best suits your needs, or whatever that is. This is a survey to lead people to your e-com store. Okay. Does that make sense? So I can put this virtually anywhere. I could put this on the front end of my e-com store so I can take people to a desired result or a desired outcome. I can do all kinds of things with this, but there's a great opportunity here for us. All right, so this is how this works. Pretty simple. I'm just going to take you quickly through this survey, and you can see how this is what this is going to do from an e-com standpoint. So I am a female, male, or I prefer not to tell. Okay. So you just simply click on that. Now you have some options again. This is a little bit like the voting poll that we had earlier, except this data is going to be extremely beneficial because it's not leaning in one direction or another based upon the emoticon. Do you understand the value of the data that comes from this? That's really important. If you don't get that, you'll miss the whole point. So I could have here, instead of having a watch, I could have here something having to do with a t-shirt. So I want this t-shirt for to work out in the gym, or I want this t-shirt to wear to the swimming pool, or I want this t-shirt to be able to wear at the mall, or I want this t-shirt for my bakery. Then I can start to sort that out. Does that make sense? I want to I'm collecting information here that's going to be beneficial. All right. So we're just going to select this as a smartwatch. We move to the next page, and the next page is what's the budget? Cute little GIF that you can make, that kind of a thing. Okay. No, the graphics may be clickable on Facebook. Kind of depends on where you post it first. You know, if you post it to a page, you make it clickable. If you post it to your personal profile, it won't be. You can embed this. There's a couple of things you can do with this. This is what we do. All right. Your customers are self-sorting. Kim has nailed it. Your customers are picking for you the next action that takes place with them. People don't like to be sold, but they love to buy. And instead of taking them through a funnel that looks like a funnel, oh, by the way, you can upsell this, or by the way, if you're not going to do the upsell, you can do the downsell. And if you don't like that, you can do the bump sell. And if you really don't like that, then we'll put you in an annual subscription. Instead, they're walking you through here, telling you exactly what they want to do next. Yeah, I totally agree with that. So this is what we do. All right. Susanna said that the surveys on Facebook can be spammy. Sometimes they're nothing more than clickbait, and I get that. What we do is we take the person then off of Facebook. All right. We don't get as much activity with it, but we take them off of Facebook. All right. So we take them off of Facebook. We take them someplace. We now drop a Facebook pixel. So we take them to a landing page where they get a Facebook pixel. On the landing page, then they can go through this. Okay, that may be the only thing that they do. It might just take them to a URL that has, just like this one is right here, that just has this survey on it. But the whole point is that we're trying to get them to take action so that we've got valuable data that's going to benefit. This that has no look of clickbait to it. This has no look of being spammy. This is nothing more than I'm trying to make a decision here. Okay, so I'm going to select a budget. And now it's going to ask me some other questions, okay? And all of these other questions are relevant, okay? They're not really going to change the way that the outcome is going to be, but they're relevant. So I'll pick this one. Again, self-sorting, correct? Now, Ray has t-shirt business. Ray's into t-shirts. Now, we could have taken that person all the way through here where we decide, what do you want to put on your t-shirt? We could walk through that whole process, and we get down to this point, and I need to know something about that person's body type. Would you agree, Ray? And I learned an interesting thing, a really interesting thing the other day listening to the video, and I don't know if the rest of y'all heard it, but I did. He talked about people's body types when he was talking about the bad dad joke t-shirts. And he said, we've discovered people under the age of 40 like their t-shirts to fit tight, right? They like their t-shirts to fit tight. The people over the age of 40 like their t-shirts to fit loose. And he said, so we have the ability to be able to deliver whichever it is that they want. Valuable data, correct? Valuable data. Ray, there's lots of places where you can do that. We have a service that we do it for clients, and I'm not trying to sell that service. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Or I can direct you to that if you want to, or I could direct you to the place where we create these. They're a little bit expensive, but when you're talking about profitability, they can be huge. Yes, it is Outgrow, and if you're interested, I do have a way that you can get a discount on that. So. But the e-com is going to be expensive. Just so you know, I'm not trying to sell anything today. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I want you to see the value of this, because we've been talking about what do you do with the store? How do you sell your product? This is a great place to be able to let the person, as Susanna said a while ago, self-sort. And that's or maybe it was Kim that said that, but that's really the point, is we want people to self-sort and be able to find a way to make this work. Okay. So if I pick normal, healthy, then I get to pick what kind of style that I'm looking for, and I'm not stylish, I'm simple. All right. And now it's okay to put my information in, because I'm thinking maybe I'm going to get a discount. I'm thinking maybe I'm going to get something that's cool, right? Now it's okay to ask that question. Would you all agree that at this stage, it's okay to collect that information? This is better than a lead magnet. It's better than it's better than an ebook. It's better than a white paper. This is actually going to get you something that may be valuable to you. So I'm going to put something in here. Now, I did this on purpose because I wanted you to see that when you build this, you can actually, in this e-com channel that we have, that we offer to our clients. And again, I'm not selling you anything. I just want you to see this. You can actually pull the contents of your store and put it in here, so that you've sorted through your store and you found the two best selections for this individual, and they would appear right there. How cool is that? No, there's no limit on the product either. And depending upon what type of a store that you have, it can, as Gene said, it's complicated. It's really not complicated at all. And I can tell you why. It takes the data from your store and pulls it into the outcome of the platform, and it automates it. No, it can be embedded. We actually have several examples of those embedded on a platform. But I want you to see the value of this. Shopify, yes. And if you're not tagging your product properly, your clients are going to have trouble, or your customers are going to have trouble finding it as well. So Always, it always depends upon how well you set something up. Just understand that. And these can easily be done as a pop-up. I'll give you an example of this. Here's an example of a pop-up. But there's a huge opportunity for people with Usign here to be able to create the proper images to go in the e-com store, or if you have an e-com store, to be able to create the product that goes into that store and a way to promote that, have the customer do all of the self-sorting on the process. And by the way, they're kind of having fun when they're doing that. Okay? Because they're thinking about this, and this is kind of the key to making this work, is that what you want to do is you want to make these fun, entertaining. You want to make these kind of looking cool, right? Fun little GIF here, okay? If you make these things fun, so people are enjoying the process, they're self-sorting and having a good time at the same time. The other thing that they're doing is they're kind of getting to know you, correct? They're kind of getting to know who you are. And that's, if this is my store, then they're kind of getting to know that Eric's kind of, this is going to be kind of fun, right? So that was my point. I want you to see that, and you know, you can do very deep kind of thing right here. You know, this was fun. I took all the images that I got off of this all came from Usign. Make sense? Two things in response to that question, Sylvie. One is that we build, I have a service where we build these things for our customers. But the other side of it is that I use the Outgrow platform. If anybody's interested in that, I get you a discounted link to that. Okay. So you have two options that are available there. And again, this is not a pitch to try to sell you on this. I just want you to see that there's things that you can do. And we need to be doing things to help us to be successful in the world that we live in today. This was kind of a fun little quiz that we put together. Let me refresh this and you'll see this. One of my favorite, I'm an old sales trainer, so one of my favorite movies of all time was Tommy Boy. So this one is, which Tommy Boy GIF matches your business marketing health? Okay. And can you see how you can use these here? Everybody get that? And you can see how the experience of the quiz actually helps to determine who you are as a person, right? Fat guy in a little coat. That's my favorite. That's my favorite. One of my favorite Chris Farley scenes of all time. So, but I wanted you to get a hold of that, okay? Because I think that there are things that you can do, and there's lots of opportunity here. There's all kinds of opportunity for creating the imagery here. There's opportunity for you to be able to do the images for somebody to go in their store. There's an opportunity for you to be able to build the graphics to make the store work. There's an opportunity for you to make the print quality graphics that go into that. There's all kinds of, my job, what I'm trying to do is give you places and ways that you can make it. Does that make sense to everybody? I want you to get your head wrapped around this, because I think this is really important. Whole purpose is to pre-qualify candidates. You can start on Facebook, link to a website. You can start on Facebook. You can start with a Facebook post, because content's my thing. I prefer to start with content. Okay. And so I begin with content, and I post that content on Facebook. I post it in Quora. I post it in Reddit. I put it in other places that make sense, depending upon what the topic is. And I write about a variety of topics. And so I put that there, and then I put with it the opportunity to be able to get, as Michelle just said, pre-qualified, to find out what's going to work for you. But I don't want people to miss a huge opportunity here, a trend that's going on that we had to get away from when we had to do something different here. Let me add this. Oh, if you've never seen the movie Tommy Boy Tyree, you really need to see that movie. All right. Since we had to move away from this, we had to find another way to engage people. We had to find another way, a better way, a way that allowed us to be able to pre-qualify or filter or segment, whichever of those things you want to do, Stephen, they can all be done. But we had to find a way to move away from this right here, which didn't really give us the right kind of stuff. All right. Again, we started this based upon the philosophy by Jeffrey Gitomer, which says people hate to be sold, but they love to buy. And it allows them to pre-qualify themselves. It allows them to say, hey, take my money. And that is meaningful in today's world, because of the vast amount of knowledge that's available on the internet. People will do their research. I want them to find me. When they do their research, I want them to qualify themselves. I don't have time to waste on somebody who's not going to be a buyer, and they don't have time to waste on something that's not going to fit them. And this is a way to determine that. Let me show you how come this is so powerful. If I type in here, I get all kinds of ideas of exactly what I can do next. All right. Because what does the survey do? It answers that question. How much does it cost? Or these are the things, and Google makes this so simple, so mindlessly simple for us. If I start out with this question, it's going to tell me what the number one most searched for thing is in order. Correct? That's where I focus my attention. And when you type in why does, you get all kinds of results. You see what we're doing? You see how easy that is? Who in the world would have thought that the fourth most searched thing on when is a good time plant grass would be would be there? Did you really think that? I didn't. Oh, you can, AC, you can do this with anything, okay? You can literally do it with anything. We've been talking about e-com for several weeks, and so I thought it would be a good way to show you how you can promote e-com in the world that we're in today and in the engagement that we're in today. Interestingly enough, and I did a webinar on this yesterday, but interestingly enough, this whole quiz idea is not trending. It is the current appeal in the public. In 2013, the New York Times ran a quiz. To this day, that was 2013, that was 6 years ago. To this day, it ranks in the top 7 most popular articles in the history of the New York Times. Not just for 2013, in the entire history of the New York Times. Now, the odds of you having a quiz that's going to go viral is minimal. The fact is that people find them appealing. And this is a good way to promote your e-com store. This is a good way to filter people and segment them and figure out what their budget is and what they're going to buy. And all of those things have a purpose. You're collecting the data so you can aggregate that, all right? If you discover that the vast majority of your clients in the watch question over here, if you discover the vast majority of your clients answer the budget question over $100, then you want to put in your e-com store watches that are over $100. Does that make sense? The data itself becomes valuable. Y'all understand what I'm saying? If 55% of my survey respondents wanted red t-shirts, then I would focus my attention on some red shirts. If 80% of my clients had chubby hands, then I would focus my attention on watches that look good on chubby hands. But by taking them off of Facebook, do you see this right here? It tells me I have a Facebook pixel that's dropped there. So now I can come back and I can target them with chubby hand watches. Am I making sense to you? Now, I promised that we would spend some time doing the Q&A. If anybody has a question, we can do that. If you have questions about anything having to do with Uzine today, I wanted to wrap up all of this talk about e-com stores with something that I think is going to be one of the most powerful things that you could do for an e-com store. And so I wanted to wrap it up with this. If there are any other questions, I will address those. If there are questions about this, I will address those, but I really want to make sure that you got this one, okay? It doesn't matter, John. The integrated programs with Uzine, I don't say that flippantly, but sorting through the integration with Uzine wears me out. It is far easier for me to download the image, upload it to the integration I want to work on, and call it a day. 3 mouse clicks and I'm done. A lot easier than sorting through all of the stuff when they're integrated with Usign. I know that'll get me in trouble, but the fact is that that's the truth, and we've demonstrated that several times on the webinars. These are brilliant on Pinterest. Carol, I know you've asked that question several times. Here's the problem. I'm having a conflict on my computer with GIFsign. Can't explain why. We can't find a solution to that. I'm having a problem on my computer with GIFsign. So it's impossible for me to demonstrate that right now. I used to use it a lot, and it's great for the very things that you're seeing right here. It was brilliant for those things. And we were able to do that. And I was able to do some really cool stuff with it. But now it's become too complicated because I can't make it. I keep my life very, very simple. And when things start making my head hurt, it's time for me to find a different solution. That doesn't sound fair. And again, that's not the horn I'm supposed to be blowing, but it's the point. Any other questions? And I'll look back, Carol. I'll look to see, because we've done a few of them. I'll look to see. I'll look to see if I've got the because I've addressed it in a webinar before. So I'll take a look to see if I've got it there, or if I have it saved. I might even have it saved in my library of videos. But I'll write that down to make sure that I do that. Or Jerry Lynn, if you would do that for me, I would appreciate it. AC, where the GIFs and the graphics come from this. Most of the graphics that I get for mine, I get off of right here. And I go over here, and you know, like the visual that I used a while ago, the winter storm. You're driving home and you see this storm, and it looks like this. I found it in here. So if I have a static image, I use it here. If it's a GIF, then before I had to crash with GIFsign, before that happened to me, I had, I'll give you one example. I can find it with that word. But I created a there was 5 images of a woman at her laptop who went through various stages. Of excitement. She went from being completely frustrated. I think she's holding her credit card in her hand, and you can tell she's frustrated. Then she goes into this. So I took those 5 images, put them in an order, created a GIF out of them just from the images, and it was amazing. If this describes your situation, I used that when we were promoting, of all things, credit card services. This is one of the services that my business does. Okay. And so we were creating a marketing plan for a company that did credit card services. And I found this amazing picture over here. Let's see if there's any one of those are in this. I may have to dig a little bit deeper to find it, but any of you remember when I did that? But there was 5. There's 5 images. We created a GIF from the 5 images. Then you download the images and you make them available in whatever your survey platform is. Correct. That's correct, AC. If you find an image over here in these integrations, you are safe to use it. If you have a question about that, click on the image itself. All right. And right here, it will give you the information. Okay. Tells you right there, it's free download. Any other questions? But do you see now how this can be used and how you can use Uzyme to create the types of images that will work in that in a platform like that? Yeah, Pete, and Rose's was simply like this, okay? Let's show you what Rose's thing was. We can't modify images, all right? We can't modify images. There's a way that we can make some modifications to images, but Uzyme's not an image editor. It isn't capable of doing that. It can't take those letters and do that with it. Is there a way to make the image clickable? Not inside of Uzyme. There's a couple of ways to be able to accomplish that, but not necessarily in Uzyme. All right, let me show you how, in a really quick way, in answer to Carol's question, let me show you a really quick way that Rose did her images, okay, her coffee demonstration image. So let me show you this, because I'm just going to take a simple piece of this, and this is what I'm going to do. All right, I'm going to start with this not being there at all. So this will be my first image. I'll take this image, I'll download it. I'll download it as a PNG file, and I'll call it image 1. All right. Then I add the question mark to it, the first one. Put this here. Move this over a little bit. Let's see, let's get it right there. And I'll make this the right-hand side. Then I save it as number 2. And then I duplicate it. Oops, I duplicated the frog. I'll duplicate the question mark image, and I'll rotate that straight up. I need to make this outside one a little bit further over, because I'm going to put these on top of each other like that. Okay. And then I download the third image. Are you following along with me, Carol? And then I do one more. And in this case, I'm going to rotate this way. And now I can create a GIF from those question marks. And what that does is it makes them fan out as the GIF is created. Good for getting attention. Okay. Any other question here? And whoever asked the question about frogs a while ago. Oh, I don't just type in frogs. I always type in happy frog. Okay. Search results will be better if you don't make them plural. Oh, come on. Don't tell me I'm running out of resources to be able to pull this off. Hang on a second. Let me look. And I get lots of frog options. It's going to take a little while to do that, but I get lots of really cool frog options. For some reason, the frog images are all tagged when you use Happy Frog. They're all tagged as happy birthday. Looks like my internet's running out of steam. AC, I'll get it up when I'm ready. That's the best answer I have. Like I said, sometimes it doesn't render it until late in the afternoon, and on the weekends, I don't always get to it on the weekend, and which means it may not get in the group until Tuesday. So I'm not trying to be mean when I say that. It's just it's just really, really important for, if you want to talk about how to do this, I'll be glad to talk to you about it. But that replay sometimes just doesn't get up on time. Like I said, I'm up behind a week right now. Any other questions? What the GIF embed code does. When you're using the GIF embed code, that allows you to be able to embed it in your WordPress site, not on Facebook, but allows you to embed it on your WordPress site or an HTML site of any kind. Anything else? I mean, how can you not just love to use a frog as your background? I mean, anybody need anything, be sure to hit me up. I'll be glad to talk to you. AC, if you want to talk about this, I'll be glad to talk to you about it. If you want some other direction, I can do that for you as well. Okay? All right. Thank you so much for joining me this weekend, or this Friday. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back here next Friday, same time, same place, doing the new Ask Me Anything thing. Okay?